Hello, everybody. My name is Carter Gagno. I am a music education major here at Nazareth University, and welcome to my CME project. My CME project is based around music education and how essential and necessary it is in the K through 12 education setting. I decided to do this obviously because of my background in for music education and where I'm going to post graduation. But I also I want to start this off with a little breakdown of the project and then get right into it. So this first episode's pretty much an overview, my thoughts before I read my analysis and stuff. I haven't gone through any of the data yet. Personally, I want to give my opinion on my own questions and things like that prior to going through the data. And then these are all going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. Realistically, I don't expect everybody to watch what's going to end up being at least an hour's worth of content. But I really would appreciate some feedback. So this first one's going to be an overview. The second one's going to be more about population. The next couple episodes, if you will, are going to be more about my three big education settings that I asked people to reflect on. I used a Google form for this project. So that would be elementary school, middle school, and high school. So I'm going K through 5 for elementary, 6 through 8 as middle school, and 9 through 12 as high school. That's pretty much a general age range of where people were for those years. Some schools keep kids to 6th grade in elementary. Some schools consider 8th grade high school. It's general. This is meant to be a loose conversation. So like I said, I am from a background of music, but what's funny is I never really intended to go into music when I was in high school. And for me personally, music was kind of just a fun thing I did. I was a four sport athlete in high school. I was the captain of all my football teams, my basketball teams, my lacrosse teams. I even played some golf, and I was originally going to go to Albany for business and try to play lacrosse there. Now I'm at Nazareth. I'm about to graduate with my music education degree, and I couldn't be happier. So one of my big questions when it was time to come do CME was, how did I get here? Like, what? That's such a turnaround. So I thought, and I was like, well, I had such a great experience with music, and I had lots of people in my life who made it so that music was more than just fun for me. And what this brought me to for my CME project was, if I didn't have the kind of music education I had growing up, would I be the same person? Which is a hard thing to discover. So I decided to say, well, is music essential? Is music a invaluable thing that we do in school? If you see me looking off to here, this is actually my form that I sent out. So the big question I asked, I created a Google form, and I did not send this out to the entire School of Music, which a lot of people in the music program do. They send out their forms and they do projects they send to the whole School of Music. But I didn't want that to be something skewered. Obviously, if I send a form about is music education essential, it's actually imperative was the word I used. I didn't want to send that out to a school of music because obviously that's going to skew my results and say everyone's going to say yes. So I decided against that. Whereas instead I walked around my general classes I have on campus and I asked people to fill them out. I got a couple people there. I sent it up on my Facebook, and a couple music friends of mine filled it out, but a large majority of the answers come from people without musical backgrounds, higher educated musical backgrounds, that is. So I'm pretty excited to share this. So I'm gonna read the opening portion of my survey here. I have, is music education imperative to students in primary and secondary education? Music programs around the country are constantly under the pressure of budget cuts. Why? Is music education unimportant? The aim of the survey is to ask people from multiple different backgrounds to reflect on their music education in their K through 12 years of school. As a future music teacher, I would like to use this to strengthen my claim that music education is a positive and essential part of students' education. And then underneath I have written that a lot of these questions have multiple parts and that this is supposed to be kind of an honest reflection process. I wasn't looking for people to go through like it's a test. 1, this is my answer. 2, this is my answer. Some people did that, and that's totally fine. But at the same time, I wasn't really, looking for people to take this too much of a serious way. I was more looking for people to relax and reflect on their own musical backgrounds. And I actually think I peeked at some of the answers as we went along, and I thought that so far this is done very well. So my initial take before I read through any of the information is that I believe that music education is a very essential part of students' lives coming up through school for many reasons. Now, I think the biggest thing I've been thinking about now, this is post-student teaching. I've done my whole student teaching semester. I have done all my observations. I'm really just ready to graduate and get out there and become the teacher I know I can be. So with all this in mind, I'm trying to think of the best way to answer this question. So what I've come up with is that music education is imperative for students for more than just learning music. Music education is a catalyst for learning many other things. For a very base level discussion, we learn history, we learn math, we learn how to use, for instrumentalists, we use our bodies differently than we ever have. I'm a trumpet player myself, and if I never did music, never would I think buzzing my lips and blowing through a piece of metal would ever do anything. And now the counter argument to my whole survey is, could you be a functioning member of society without music? And there's a lot of good debate saying that music is a secondary, not in terms of education. Music is second to all the other subjects, which I disagree with, but I can find value in some of the other arguments to support my argument. So I will go with kind of a brief overview of my views. So elementary, I do believe, is the most important time for music education to happen. In elementary, there is many key developmental years where you as a teacher spend time with the children and help them grow. Now, what's amazing about elementary music teachers is that we see these children pretty much, if you're in the same school, from K all the way through 5 or 6, depending on the school. Whereas general teachers in the elementary school, they get them for 1 year, and they build a really nice relationship with 1 year of that student's life. Whereas the music teachers, and as well as the art teachers and other special teachers, they spend a lot of time with these other students. And what I've found in my own experience, and what I'm reflecting on my own elementary experiences, is that music seems to be one of the most influential but exciting times for a student's day. I can remember, obviously I won't use names, so I'll say Tom. There was a student named Tom in my student teaching. Tom loved to come to music, and every day I would have front door duty, and I would hang out, say hi to kids in the morning. We'd get them breakfast and things like that, and Tom come up to me every morning. Mr. Gagno, do we have music today? And I say, Tom, no, we don't have music. You had music yesterday. Unfortunately, you don't have it for 3 more days. Every day, Tom was asking me about music. Now, Tom didn't care about choir. Tom didn't care about me teaching him quarter notes. What Tom found was so helpful for him was singing and dancing and being out of a desk, right? So music has much more value than just teaching notes on a page, how to read music, things like that. Music is more than that. Whereas I find that math, science, history, all these things, these are more about developing knowledge, right? Developing, we can sit at this desk and learn equations. We can learn numbers. We can count to 100. All things like that. Whereas in music, I might spend maybe 20% of my time teaching core fundamental music abilities, and the rest of the time we're discovering personal things about ourselves. I'm spending a lot of time in my elementary music classes teaching, hey, what does this music make you feel? Right? How does this music affect you? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Can we dance to it? Let's try to dance to it. Things like that, right? So not only are we using music as a tool for self-discovery, but we're using fun musical experiences for students to really open up and learn who they are. I mean, I've seen young students who are very closed. They don't like participating in class. They're not very good at math. They don't read very well out loud. They come to music and they're really shy. But then I put on that one song and they just jam and they love it. They're discovering themselves. And it's wonderful. So that's a large part of my argument here, is that music is absolutely essential and imperative to students at the elementary level. The rest of the discussion goes on with about middle school and high school. Now, middle school and high school, often what we see, and this is from about 6th grade, 7th grade, depending on where middle school starts in most schools, different across the country. Most schools in New York, it starts at about 6th grade. So middle school and high school, they will have credits, just like college, right? Just like university, where you have to take a certain amount of art credit. Now, it's, in my mind, unfortunate that in high school, you really don't, I think my high school personally was only 2 credits. I had to have 2 credits of art. Now, art credits included music, like your physical art stuff, theater, anything that was considered artistic. So you never had to do music if you didn't like music. And there is value in that. And there is value in not forcing students to do something they don't want to do. I 100% believe that. The same thing kind of goes for middle school, although I do remember in middle school we had to take 1 credit of every art. And I'm not sure if that's the way across the country. I didn't have enough time to research every school. But generally what happens is that you have to have a credit of music, art, and gym, things like that. Gym's a little different, but that's how it worked. And there's value, again, in not forcing students to do things. However, I think what's really effective about music is that this is really a place where you can do a lot of self-discovery, as I already talked about. And in these crucial years, especially in the middle school years, these crucial developmental years, I mean, puberty is starting, emotions, boyfriends and girlfriends, blah, 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 blah. There's so much going on that music is a great place to not only take a break from the subjects that are getting harder for students to learn. I can't tell you how many times I had failed an Algebra 1 course in high school, test in high school, and I went to the band room, sat on my band teacher's couch, and we just listened to some music, and he helped me through stuff, and it was great. And not every music teacher is expected to do that, but what it did do is it gave me a safe space, and I knew that down there I could really focus, right? I could really get things done. And these are the kind of relationships that are often built with music teachers, art teachers, things like that. So we've got that with high school. I kind of skipped over middle school. So high school is a great time for students to really keep doing what they like to do. Do I think that every student should be required to take 4 years of music or 4 years of general music? Absolutely not. I think that there's only so much you can do to encourage and fully engage students at that level who only want to be there partially, if you know what I mean. So instead, what if I had all choice in the whole world, I would say that music should be required for 2 out of the 4 years, and it should be a general music course, and it should be some sort of ensemble. Now, the problem with that is funding, right? Not every kid wants to do band and choir. Modern band is becoming a very, very large group around the country, and especially in RCSD, the Rochester City School District. They do a lot of modern band, which is basically your rock bands and your, it's like anything that you listen to, AC/DC, Taylor Swift's band, like we get together, play guitars, piano, sing, drums, things like that. Modern band is becoming so prominent, and that's a great thing to get students involved in. A cappella, there's about a dozen different ways to do music. If you don't want to be in an ensemble, then do two general music things. Again, this causes, we have to fund teachers, things like that. So these are all my thoughts right up front. The same thing goes with middle school. I think that middle school should have required general music as well as required one ensemble or something other than that. I'm kind of over my time that I've expected from my first episode, but these are all my first thoughts before I go through any of this data. Thank you if you made it all the way through this first episode and continue to watch these. I really appreciate it. Like I said, just as another breakdown, we've got this. This is my first introduction episode. I'll have an episode about my the people who responded. What did I say? The data I gathered, and then I'm gonna go through just factual stuff that people gave me for elementary, middle, high school, and then I'm gonna have a concluding episode where I take these thoughts and I take all the facts and things that I gathered from the data and talk about them again. And mostly I'm going to try to, from here on out, talk more about what other people think, as this first episode was a lot about my ideas. And in the concluding episode, I'm going to try to pull them together. And hopefully I've got a lot of stuff that supports my claim. But if not, that's what we're here for. We're here to learn. So thank you so much. And episode 2 is next.